Carly Simon is a famous American singer-songwriter whose voice has been loved by many generations. Her soulful and expressive songs have left a lasting mark on the music business. People love her music, but they've always been more interested in her personal life, especially her marriage to James Taylor. After decades of rumors, Carly Simon has finally told the truth about how they met and fell in love. What does Carly now know? Watch this video to find out the secrets Carly Simon tells us when she finally says what we all thought about her marriage to James Taylor. But before we get into these new details, let's look at Carly Simon's early life, her work, and her connections with other famous people in the business. Childhood. She was born on June 25, 1943, in New York City. Richard L. Simon, her father, helped to start Simon & Schuster, and was also a classical musician who played Chopin and Beethoven pieces at home a lot. Her mother, Andrea Heinemann, sang and worked for human rights. Carly's father was German Jewish, and her mother was Catholic. In her mother's side of the family, her grandfather Friedrich Heinemann was German, and her grandmother Ophelia Oliet, also known as Chibi, was from Cuba, and came from a Pardo family of freed slaves. Ophelia was raised by nuns in England until she was 16 years old. Finding Your Roots, a PBS show, showed in 2017 that Simon's DNA tests showed that she had 10% African and 2% Native American heritage, most likely through her maternal grandmother. Carly Simon grew up in the Riverdale neighborhood of the Bronx, with her younger brother Peter, two older sisters named Lucy and Joanna, and her mother. Sadly, all of them died of cancer before she did. The family said they were Roman Catholic, as written in a photography book that her brother Peter put out in the late 1990s. Simon had a traumatic experience when she was 7 years old, and a young family friend sexually abused her. She called it highness, and it changed the way she thought about sex for a long time. Simon began to stutter badly when he was 8 years old. A therapist tried to help her with her speech problem, but the treatments didn't work. Simon instead found solace in singing and writing songs. The fact that she could sing so well made her want to write songs because she had trouble speaking without stammering. She has also talked about how she dealt with dyslexia as a child, and how she thinks that it helped her write songs. She said that her hit song Anticipation came down from the universe into my head, and then out of my mouth, which means it didn't go through her thoughts. Carly Simon went to Riverdale Country School and stayed at Sarah Lawrence College for at least 4 terms. Besides doing well in school, she also learned singing at the Juilliard School, where she improved her skills even more. How did Carly Simon get her start in the music business? What did she finally say that we all thought she knew about her marriage to James Taylor? Check back to find out. Early in your career, the Simon sisters, Carly Simon and her sister Lucy Simon, were the first musicians to work together. Carly, who sang contralto, and Lucy, who sang soprano, signed with Cap Records. On April 27, 1963, they made their TV debut on Hootenanny. They put out 2 records with the company, starting with 1964's Meet the Simon Sisters. Lucy set a children's song by Eugene Field to music for the single Winkin' Blinkin' and Nod, which was a small hit. In 1966, they put out their second record, Cuddle Bug. In 2006, these records came out again on CD as Winkin' Blinkin' and Nod, the Cap Recordings, a limited number collection of remastered songs. The Simon Sisters Sing the Lobster Quadrille and Other Songs for Children was their third record, which came out in 1969. It was later re-released on CD in 2008, under the name Carly and Lucy Simon Sing Songs for Children. Around the end of the 1960s, Simon worked with the unusual New York rock band, Elephant's Memory, for about 6 months. Simon said she didn't like playing with the group at that time because the clubs were always full of smoke from cigarettes and marijuana, and the sound systems were so bad that she often lost her voice. After a summer of shows, she finally quit the band because she wasn't enjoying it anymore. Simon met Jacob Brackman in 1968. They became close friends and often worked together on songs. He was called Simon's best friend, remembering how they couldn't be apart during that time. Brackman also helped her make a lot of friends who are still important to her. How did Carly Simon handle her job after she quit the band? Let's find out. Fame and a career as a solo artist. Jack Holtzman signed Carly Simon to Elektra Records in 1970. This was the start of an important period in her singing career. Her first record, which was called Self-Titled, came out on February 9, 1971, and went straight to number 130 on the Billboard 200. That's the Way I've Always Heard It Should Be, her first big hit, was on this record and peaked at number 10. She was nominated for Best Female Pop Vocal Performance at the 14th Annual Grammy Awards and won Best New Artist. The song also peaked at number 1 on the Billboard Pop Singles chart. Timothy Krause wrote a review for Rolling Stone that praised Simon's voice and said it went well with her music. He also said nice things about the album's arrangements. It was Simon's second record, and it also reached number 30 on the Billboard 200. It came out in November 1971. Simon was nominated for another Grammy at the 15th Annual Grammy Awards for Best Female Pop Vocal Performance for the record. Stephen Davis of Rolling Stone gave the record a good review, pointing out that the title track was a lively look at the stresses of a new love relationship. He also said that songs like First Day Together were quiet, beautiful, and mysterious. He talked about Joni Mitchell's impact and I've Got to Have You, which he called an absolute clincher. Simon later said that the recording process was one of her favorite memories, focusing on how close the band, which included Andy Newmark, Jimmy Ryan, and Paul Glanz, was to each other. She liked how the instrumental and singing parts were simple but powerful, and how Cat Stevens added to the album's general charm with her vocals and strings on a few tracks. The first song from Carly Simon's album Anticipation, also called Anticipation, was a big hit. It got to number 3 on Easy Listening Radio and number 13 on the Billboard Pop Singles list. Later the song became well known when it was used in ads to promote the ketchup of the H.J. Heinz business. The interesting thing is that Simon wrote the song in just 15 minutes while she was waiting for Cat Stevens to pick her up for a date. They started dating soon after Simon opened for Stevens at the Troubadour in L.A., around the same time that Stevens' first album came out. Legend in Your Own Time, the next song did not do as well on the pop singles chart, only hitting number 50. However, it did better on the Easy Listening chart, where it almost made it into the top 10 at number 11. Chris Christopherson wrote the last song on the record, I've Got to Have You. It was released as a single in Australia, and made it to the top 10 on the Kent Music Report in 1972. Simon also appeared as a trying singer in Milos Forman's 1971 movie Taking Off, singing the song Long-Term Physical Effects, which was also on the record that went with the movie. The most famous song in Carly Simon's career, You're So Vain, made her very famous from 1972 to 1973. The song went straight to the top of both the pop and adult contemporary charts in the U.S. It sold more than 1 million copies in the U.S. alone, and was one of the biggest hits of the decade. This success put her record No Secrets at the top of the Billboard 200 chart, where it stayed for 5 weeks in a row. That year the record was certified gold, and by its 25th anniversary in 1997, it had been certified platinum. At the 16th Annual Grammy Awards, Simon was nominated for Record of the Year, Song of the Year, and Best Pop Vocal Performance, Female. Each song was nominated for 3 awards. There was also a mention for Best Engineered Recording for No Secrets. The song's fame grew even more when it was accepted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 2004 and placed at number 72. On Billboard's list of the 100 best songs from the chart's first 50 years, from 1958 to 2008, it was named the best song of the 1970s by the UK's official charts company in 2014. Also, Rolling Stone ranked it as the 495th best song of all time in their 2021 list. People have long been curious about who Simon was singing about in You're So Vain. It's become one of the most lasting questions in popular music. People have thought about the famous line You're so vain, I bet you think this song is about you for decades. Simon sold the name at auction in 2003 to TV producer Dick Ebersol for $50,000, as long as he didn't tell anyone about it. Finally, Simon revealed in November 2015 while promoting her memoir that the second line of the song was about Warren Beatty. She also said that he was only the subject of that verse, and that the rest of the song was about two other men who were not named. Carly Simon released Hotcakes in 1974 right after the huge hit of her record No Secrets, which became popular very quickly. It jumped to number 3 on the Billboard 200, stayed there for almost 8 months and was finally given the Gold Award. 2 top 10 songs were on Hotcakes. One of her duets with her then-husband James Taylor, Mockingbird, went to number 5 on the pop singles chart. The other was Haven't Got Time for the Pain, which went to number 2 on the adult contemporary chart. Experts also thought the music was good. Rolling Stone's John Landau liked how Hotcakes had a fun sound with some serious themes. He thought this was a good mix for Simon at the time. He said that Think I'm Gonna Have a Baby Forever My Love and Haven't Got Time for the Pain were Simon's best songs that showed how much she had grown as an artist. He thought they were better than a lot of her older work. That same year, Simon also contributed vocals to Tom Rush's album Ladies Love Outlaws, co-signing on No Regrets and providing backup vocals on Claim on Me. In 1977, Carly Simon became famous around the world with Nobody Does It Better, the theme song for the James Bond movie The Spy Who Loved Me. The song became one of the most famous Bond themes of all time and topped the adult contemporary charts. In the 1980s, Simon continued to have success with her film music. The song Coming Around Again from the 1986 movie Heartburn was a big hit, and her album of the same name went platinum and won her 2 Grammy nods. With her 1988 hit Let the River Run from Working Girl, Simon continued to make history as the first artist to win a Grammy, an Academy Award, and a Golden Globe for a song she created, wrote, and performed all by herself. Simon had 24 Billboard Hot 100 songs in the 1970s and was a well-known introspective singer-songwriter at the time, and 28 adult current songs that made the charts. She has won 2 Grammys and was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 2004 for You're So Vain. In 1994, she was also inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. In 1995, she won the Boston Music Awards Lifetime Achievement Award. In 1998, Berklee College of Music gave her an Honors Doctor of Music degree. He won the ASCAP Founders Award in 2012 for his work. Simon was admitted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2022, making her even more of an important person in music history. What did Simon's life be like when she wasn't famous and in the public eye? What problems did she face along the way? Check back to find out. Personal life and problems I face. Carly Simon was engaged to the British author William Donaldson for a short time in the 1960s. He called her the answer to any sane man's prayers. Funny, quick, sexy, and incredibly skilled. Simon tied the knot with singer-songwriter James Taylor on November 3, 1972. They had 2 kids together. Sarah, Sally, and Maria Taylor were born on January 7, 1974. Also, Benjamin Ben Simon Taylor, who was born on January 22, 1977. Both of the kids have become artists and political leaders like their parents. In 1983, Simon and Taylor split up. James Hart was a writer, artist, and businessman. He married Carly Simon on December 23, 1987. They were married for a long time until they split up in 2007. Simon had surgery to remove her mastectomy, chemotherapy, and cosmetic surgery for breast cancer between 1997 and 1998. Even though she had lumps in her breasts for a few years, her doctors told her not to have surgery at first. Simon later remembered a turning point when a doctor told her, "I'd rather see it in a jar than in your breast." This made her feel bad for not getting rid of it sooner. Simon was very saddened when her close friend Linda McCartney died, who had also been suffering from breast cancer at the same time as her surgery. Simon has also had osteopenia since she was about 61 years old, which is why she doesn't wear high heels anymore to avoid pain. James Taylor's younger brother is good friends with Carly Simon, see below. For more than 40 years, Livingston Taylor has said nice things about his friendship with Carly. "I love Carly and Carly loves me. She's a fierce fan of my music. They worked together on songs like Best of Friends from Livingston's 2006 record There You Are Again, as well as on earlier projects. In May 2010, Simon said that she and other celebs had been scammed by financial planner Kenneth Thurber Starr's Ponzi scheme, losing a lot of money. Around 2006, it was said that Simon was dating Richard Coiler, a surgeon who specializes in minimally invasive surgery. It was said that they were living together on Martha's Vineyard by 2015. Simon made news in October 2016 when she gave the rights to her famous song You're So Vain to a political ad that was against Donald Trump. This was a big change from her past position of not talking about her political ideas. Simon said that the Access Hollywood tape, in which Trump brags about inappropriate behavior, made her decide to officially go against his presidential campaign in 2016. Carly Simon's life was turned upside down when she lost both of her sisters to cancer in the same day in October 2022. Lucy Simon died the next day from breast cancer that had spread. Joanna Simon died on October 19, 2022, after a long fight with thyroid cancer. Her brother Peter Simon had already died before this terrible loss, who died on November 18, 2018, from lung cancer. When we talk about Carly Simon, can we not also talk about her boyfriend? Who was this love of hers? What was he all about? Keep listening to find out. James Taylor. His birthday is March 12, and he was born at Massachusetts General Hospital in Boston on that day. His father, Isaac M. Taylor, was a fellow doctor at the hospital. He came from a wealthy family in the South. Taylor comes from English and Scottish roots, and has ties to the Massachusetts Bay Colony. One famous relative, Edmund Rice, helped to start Sudbury, Massachusetts. Gertrude, his mother, studied under Marie Sandelius at the New England Conservatory of Music, and wanted to be an opera singer before she married Isaac in 1946. She lived from 1921 to 2015. Isaac Taylor became an assistant professor of medicine at the University of North Carolina School of Medicine in 1951, so the Taylor family moved to Chapel Hill, North Carolina. In the quiet, mostly empty Morgan Creek area, they built a house. When James thought back on this time, he said that Chapel Hill and its surroundings were peaceful and country. He said that the scenery and weather were more important to his coming of age than the people. While his father's work was going well, James went to a public elementary school in Chapel Hill. However, Isaac spent a lot of time away from home. In 1955 and 1956, he was on active duty at Bethesda Naval Hospital in Maryland, and took part in Operation Deep Freeze in Antarctica. Isaac became dean of the UNC School of Medicine in the end, and did that job from 1964 to 1971. Since 1953, the Taylor family has spent the summers on Martha's Vineyard. James Taylor learned to play the cello as a child in North Carolina before he learned to play the guitar in 1960. That same year, Taylor wrote his first song on the guitar. He found it easy to learn the instrument after that. With the name Jamie and Cooch, Taylor and Korchmar played at coffee shops around the vineyard by the summer of 1963. Taylor started going to Milton Academy in 1961, a Massachusetts private school for prep school. He did well in school, but he had a hard time in his junior year because he didn't feel like he belonged in the high-stakes college prep setting. Taylor went back to North Carolina to finish the semester at Chapel Hill High School. There he joined the band that his brother Alex was in, the Corsairs, which later became known as the Fabulous Corsairs. They made a single in Raleigh in 1964, with James's Cha-Cha Blues on the flip side. Taylor lost touch with his friends in North Carolina, so he went back to Milton for his final year and started applying to schools. When James Taylor's song Fire and Rain made number 3 on the charts in 1970, it was his big break. The song You've Got a Friend, which was written by Carole King that same year, became his first number 1 hit in 1971. That year his album Greatest Hits sold 11 million copies in the US alone, making it one of the best-selling records in US history. It was rated diamond. Taylor kept a strong and loyal fan base after the release of his 1977 record JT. From 1977 to 2007, he put out albums that each sold more than 1 million copies. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, he had a comeback on the charts, putting out some of his best-known songs, like Hourglass, October Road and covers. His first #1 record in the US was Before This World, which came out in 2015. He is known for both his original songs, like Sweet Baby James, and his cover versions of old songs, like How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You and Handyman. Besides singing, he also tried acting. In 1971, he played the lead part in Monty Hellman's movie Two Lane Blacktop. But what really happened to the Hollywood it couple at that time? Why did things go wrong between them? Check back to find out. The wedding of Carly Simon and James Taylor. People paid a lot of attention to Carly Simon and James Taylor's marriage in the 1970s because it was so famous. In the late 1960s, a close friend put them in touch with each other, and they instantly felt connected because they both loved music. They got married in 1972 and quickly became one of the most powerful couples in the business. They were good at working together and getting along with each other personally. They were married for over 10 years and had 2 children, Sarah Maria and Benjamin. During their marriage, Simon and Taylor worked together on a number of music projects, which showed how well they could work together creatively. But they had a lot of problems in their relationship. What caused them to get a divorce in 1983? Even though they were no longer dating, they kept a friendly friendship for the sake of their kids. But over the past few years they've grown apart and don't talk as much. They had both good and bad times in their marriage, but it is still an important part of their lives. People both inside and outside of Carly Simon and James Taylor's marriage have thought about their relationship during and after they got married. In an interview with Rolling Stone, Taylor said he was afraid to criticize Simon's music because he thought it would make her dislike him. Simon said that she felt like she was walking on hot fire because of the situation. This song is from Simon's 1974 album Hotcakes. It's called It Happens Every Day. Is often seen as a comment on how hard her marriage to Taylor was and how it ended. The words hint at the problems they were having personally by showing how unstable their relationship was. How did one person have such a big impact on the music business? Let's find out how Carly Simon has affected other acts. Many modern singers and public figures look up to Carly Simon as a model, and her impact goes across generations of artists. Taylor Swift has praised Simon for her honest lyrics and music. She also called her a strong, beautiful woman who seems to handle her work and personal life with ease. Swift's respect shows how Simon has had a lasting effect on artists who want their music to be real and have emotional depth. Carly Rae Jepsen also says that Simon has had an impact on her, praising Simon's honest and approachable way of writing songs. Also, Jepsen likes Simon's sense of style and her ability to make music that sounds real and honest. Brittany Murphy, an actress who looked up to Simon, called her a great woman and a force of nature. Murphy's respect shows how popular Simon is and how much of an impact she has had on people who admire her in both their personal and work lives. Many musicians from different styles have said nice things about Carly Simon, which shows how much she has influenced them. Tori Amos has often said that Simon was a big influence on her, and at her shows she often sings about boys in the trees. Amos has said that she really admires Simon's lyrics and wishes she had written the song herself. Natalie Maines of the Dixie Chicks has also said that Simon had an effect on her work. Maines played Simon's "That's the Way I've Always Heard It Should Be" at the 2012 ASCAP Awards. This showed how Simon had influenced her creative growth. Claro wrote in a 2021 Rolling Stone article that Simon's music makes her feel very brave and connected to herself. Claro praised Simon for being honest and for how her songs deal with flaws, which is something she thinks is important to Simon's ongoing importance. Before putting Simon in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Sarah Bareilles talked about how much of an impact he has had on singer-songwriters like herself. Bareilles talked about how Simon's impact has been important in the lives of many artists who came after her. These thoughts show how Carly Simon left a lasting mark as a pioneering and inspiring figure in the music business. Her work continues to speak to and inspire new generations of artists. Let's hear what Carly Simon finally says about her marriage. Carly Simon finally says what we all already knew about her marriage to James Taylor. Carly Simon said that the first time she saw pictures of James Taylor, he was holding hands with Joni Mitchell in Rolling Stone. Even though she didn't know him personally, she felt a strange kind of envy. She also remembered seeing Taylor on the cover of Time magazine and telling her sister that she was going to marry him, almost without thinking about it. This took place about 9 months before they started dating. Simon said that her first thoughts about her marriage were very positive, and she said that she felt completely safe with Taylor. At first, being married to him was like a dream come true, and she loved how safe and close they were together. Before they felt safe, their bond grew stronger. It took some time to get there. And better for you. Carly Simon was looking forward to getting to know James Taylor better as time went on. At first, she was excited about the idea of getting closer to him. As their relationship grew, though, she started to notice new problems and difficulties. Taylor seemed to emotionally pull away from Simon, even though Simon really wanted to be closer to Taylor. This is shown in one of his songs where he calls her a hungry woman and himself an angry man. Simon has a deep link with people, and she knows that when she's around, you can't help but feel that connection. Even though she really wanted to be close, Taylor started to pull away. He had problems with drugs like heroin, cocaine, marijuana, and booze, which made their relationship even more fraught. Simon said that he was addicted to more than one thing, like how Janis Joplin talked about moving between heroin and alcohol when one stopped working and was replaced by the other. The rising distance between them was caused in large part by this circle of dependence. Carly Simon knows a lot about addiction because she has been through it herself, having seen and lived it from different points of view, both directly and indirectly. She thinks about how complicated James Taylor's behavior was when he was drunk. His guard dropped when he was drunk, and he became very friendly. There were times when he was stern, cold, and emotionally detached, though, which made the relationship painful. Simon talks about how hard it is for her to balance her need for closeness with the bad effects of Taylor's drinking. She had a hard time because she wanted to support his recovery, but also wanted his love. This made her presence a tough place for him to get clean. Her strong need for his love sometimes got in the way of helping him get better, which made her job as a caring partner harder. Simon says that she still loves Taylor, even though their relationship isn't perfect and there are problems and tough times. She agrees that their different personalities, hers being warm and his being quiet, made for a difference that neither of them could fully handle. Simon and Taylor are not getting along right now. They don't talk to each other. Taylor also doesn't go see her or their close boy Ben. Taylor doesn't like living on the island with Simon, which makes them even farther apart. It wasn't long ago when James Taylor said that Carly Simon's island was no longer a place where he felt at ease calling it her island. It's no longer my island. He said that the relationship was a constant bothersomeness for both of them in different ways. Simon understood how complicated their situation was and told them they needed to find a way to deal with their problems. He also said that the fact that they are both famous made things even harder. She told them that they needed to work through their problems even though everyone was watching. When Simon thought about this issue, she said she was glad she didn't have to deal with it anymore, which suggests she felt resolved or okay with the fact that they are no longer together. Even though they don't talk to each other, Carly Simon has found her own space and is learning to love the life she's made for herself without James Taylor. The past is still very much a part of her songs, her feelings, and the personal journey she is still on. Even though the emotional scars are still there, Simon has used her pain to make music that talks about love's subtleties and the deep pain of being cut off. She still loves the sweet times they spent together and the family they built, especially their children, who are very important to her. Taylor has decided to keep her distance, but Simon respects her limits because he knows that sometimes letting go is part of healing. A little bit of the pain has gone away over time, and in its place is thankfulness for the love that was. The story of her and Taylor serves as a moving reminder that even the most beautiful love stories don't always end happily ever after, but they still leave a lasting impression. What do you think about the fact that Carly Simon and James Taylor are no longer together? Leave a comment below and let us know. Thanks for seeing this movie. We hope it was interesting for you. Remember to like and subscribe. you can watch the next movie on your screen to catch up on your favorite famous news. I'll see you there.